We are connecting and we are now recording, and then we will post this on our Facebook page. So before we get started, I have an important question to ask all of you. How many of you enjoyed being able to just go online and watch the videos or watch the module? Did you find that to be an effective way to do the training? And did you like the timing of it? Did that work for you?
I really liked it.
Okay, very good. Couple of thumbs up.
Yeah. I mean, it was like in this situation, everybody was like kind of uncertain what will happen with the training and all. And it was quite—
I do miss the in-person connections, but it makes it easier to attend.
Very cool. Very cool. Was there anybody that didn't like this at all, that wish we didn't do this? I am not seeing anybody saying, please don't do this again. So I think we're going to try to keep this up for the future years. Does that sound good? Sound like it's a plan to maybe keep this going for future years? I think it is too. So thank you all very much for the feedback. We appreciate that. We want to make sure that we're delivering the products that you want us to deliver as well. So what are the roundtables? Our roundtable sessions are not another PowerPoint presentation. There is not going to flip over to share a screen. It's not going to be a monologue with one person talking for an entire hour. This is an opportunity for you to share, if you've been a club officer before, the things that you have learned over the course of time that you want to help new club officers be able to flatten their learning curve as they get into their new club offices. Because let's face it, when we went through the training, I don't think it quite answers every single question that we have about the role we're about to get ourselves into, nor about what it means to be a club officer. I know that when I first took over to be a club officer about 8 years ago, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I went to one of these TLIs. I got one of these handy dandy little manuals before I left my TLI. If you've been around for a little bit, you remember that we used to have manuals instead of stuff online. And they sent me out the door and said, you're good, you'll figure all this out, no problem. And within a day, I went, oh my goodness, what have I done? I have a feeling that some of you have probably also had those moments already or about to have those moments where you don't really know exactly what you're going to get into. So we're going to try to share with you some of the best practices, some of the learnings that we have had over the course of the years to help make your situation a little bit better, help make your time a little bit better for you. Sound like a plan for everybody? You in for that? Thumbs up if that's good for you. Fantastic. Yep. I've not lost anybody yet. Very good. All right, so the way the roundtable is going to work tonight, we're going to be calling on some members who have been around for a little bit, who have been club officers for a little bit, and then we are going to have some open questions for everybody here, so that everybody gets an opportunity to be able to ask the questions you might have, to be able to share what you've learned over the course of time, and to be able to share some best practices between clubs, because we all know that no two clubs are exactly the same. Everyone does stuff just a little bit differently, and sometimes the best things that we learn come from someplace we would have never expected to be exposed to something. So that's why we're doing these things tonight. So just for kind of a little history, for most of you who don't know me, I have been a Toastmaster for 8 years. This is my 3rd district in 4 years. I started in District 84 in Central Florida, moved to South Florida, District 47, went back to District 84, and then to District 11. Life has moved us around, but I know that my wife's next promotion is across the hall instead of across the country, and we are here for a good while, which is why I ran to serve the district. And I'm hoping that we can bring some of the things that we've learned over the course of time in different districts and different clubs and meld all that together so you have a wonderful experience as a Toastmaster and as a club officer. But I know that over my journeys, there are a lot of things that I wish I knew now, that I wish I knew when I started, things I know now. We all have those as we were around for a little bit. We all kind of look back on our experience and say, oh man, I wish I knew that then. Tyson, I asked you this last night. I'm going to ask you it again tonight. What are the things that you know now that you wish you knew then when you were first starting out in your trek as a Toastmaster?
Well, there was a lot, because when I started out as a club officer, actually I started as a club officer about 2 months after I joined Toastmasters. I found out there was an event that I could go to learn more about Toastmasters, and I was all excited about it. I wanted to learn more about Toastmasters. I went to it. Turns out it was an officer training event. I met together with my other 3 officers from my chapter afterwards, and my president said, "You're the new VPPR." I said, "Okay, that's great." I was already familiar with marketing and stuff at that time, but as time went on, though, and especially when I found myself in the role of president and basically having to pull the club back up from the ground, doing everything by myself, there was definitely a lot that I wish that I had known. One most important thing is resources. The people that you meet at the officer trainings, even if you go to different events like the speech competitions, you get to know other people and identify those leaders, the people who have been there, who know how to do this, they know what to do in difficult situations, and then build connections with those people, develop those relationships, those connections, get people's contact information, and get in touch outside of the meetings after the meetings are over. Connect on Facebook. But the resources are really important. The people are one of the top resources, but it's also important to know how to find the other resources. Toastmasters, the Toastmasters.org website has tons of resources in there. It can be just a little bit tricky to uncover everything and find out how to discover what you need, but being able to identify, being able to search and find what you need, all of the different resources, that's really helpful. And so those are a couple of the top things, I think, being able to know where to find the resources, whether it's informational resources or the people. That's definitely one of the best things, I think.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Tyson. Thanks for getting us started. Thank you very much for that. We greatly appreciate it. You're absolutely right. There are a lot of resources out there. So some of the resources that we have for the district that might be a little bit different from what you've seen in years past. How many of you went on and found the videos that are on the YouTube channel? Has anybody gone out to find where our videos are out there? How many of you know we have a YouTube channel? How many of you know what YouTube is? Okay, good. There we go. We got lots of thumbs up for that one. All right. So on the District 11 website, if you go to District 11 Toastmasters, on the left-hand bar of the District 11 Toastmasters, you will find about halfway down, it says Education Segments. You click on that, and it will bring up a link for all of the education segments that we've had. And there's a link in the middle there that says, click here for our YouTube page. We have a YouTube channel, a non-public YouTube channel. We keep it private so that everything that we record here is really just for District 11. This is not something that goes out to the masses of the world, but we keep it for District 11. And we record and post just about everything that we do. The goal is to record everything, but we are human, and once in a while, I may forget to hit record. It happens. Things happen, right? But everything that we remember to hit record for, like tonight, we post on that channel, and you can always go back and watch stuff later if you're interested in learning about something that maybe you missed at some point, if you're looking to learn about a different role, a different whatever. And we don't have just the club officer trainings on there. We also have the Great Education series. So we started back in February when we first went online. Instead of being able to have a spring conference, we started having education sessions. And we're about to get back into that as we're going forward for the rest of the year. All of those are posted there too. So lots of resources to be able to get to on our District 11 website to be able to use as your resources as you go forward. So remember, District 11 Facebook page or District 11 website, and then on that website, left-hand banner, click the education resources, and it'll take you right to our YouTube page. Sound like a plan? Everyone got it? Know where to go? Fantastic. All right. Well, Toastmasters is one of those things that is never good to be accomplished by yourself. It is always better to be done with others. Jerry, you've been around for a day or two. Tell me about the relationships and how important those are for club officers that you found over the years.
Which Jerry are you referring to?
Jerry Zimmerman.
Okay. Well, thank you for asking me that, Scott. Yes, I have been around quite a few years, and I would say that relationships between officers are one of the most important qualities for a good club, a successful club. And in particular, I would rate personally the top 3: the president, the educational vice president, and the secretary. That's where I feel the real chemistry exists. And if you can have those three working together closely, particularly for good long-term planning, a club is in all likelihood going to be very successful.
Very nice. Relationships, I think, are without a doubt the foundation of everything that we do. But it's not just relationships within officers. Geeta, I'm going to call you out here because I know that you have done a magnificent job of building relationships, not just in your club, but across the district wide. How have you benefited from those relationships that you've been able to build over the past few years within Toastmasters? And how did you go about building them? Such a great network.
Sure. So my journey with Toastmasters started 5 years back when I was working in a company. I was in India at that time.
Who did you call on?
So I got to know about Toastmaster then, and I had I was fortunate to have very good mentors back then in Toastmasters, and I kind of figured out like in Toastmasters, we not only go through the curriculum which Toastmaster has to offer, but it is all about the skills, life skills, which we learn here. And I kind of like realized that these are the life skills we want in every walks of our life, whether it's our professional life or our personal life. And seriously, like I have been benefited with those skills in my life, in my personal life and professional life. I was working there in that time, and then I applied here for PhD. Right now, I'm a PhD student in Purdue University, and there was something in me which I found, connected with Toastmasters. You talk with a lot of people, you get to learn from their life stories, you share your own problems, you get a lot of feedback. So in real life we really don't have like lifetime mentors, but in Toastmaster you get to make those connections with people, and this is a life skill. Like you learn, it's for me, I think it's a way of life. When we really think, Toastmaster is not basically, it's not to make you away from your work. It's basically there to empower you, to encourage you to be more efficient in your day-to-day life. So when we apply those skills which we learn in Toastmasters meeting, when we apply those skills in our real life, that's when the real magic happens. And that's what has been happening in my life. So I seriously have I'm so thankful to Toastmaster community. I have been learning a lot. And now in Boiler Talks, you see this community, we have like a lot of students. Initially this club was not there, but I could see the need of having the club here, because through this club you not only talk, you communicate, you connect, and you drive. So this is something like I have been loving, and I am just passing all of these skills I have learned so far in my life, and this is like I'm just loving it. So I seriously wish anyone who is a new right now and would like to learn from Toastmaster out of their Toastmasters meeting, just like give your best and try to give back whatever you learn here. That's what Toastmasters teaches us. Yeah.
Thank you. That is so well said. Thank you so much, Geeta. Thank you. That is very, very well said. You touched on something I think is really important to the whole Toastmasters journey. How many of us have mentors? How many of us have a mentor within Toastmasters? How many wish we had a mentor within Toastmasters? Well, here's the thing. So there are many, but Blenda's like, it depends who it is. I don't know. So here's the thing with Toastmasters. You know that there's a mentorship program that's within Pathways, correct? Have you come across that you know that there is a mentorship program that's out there? A thumbs up if you know that there's a mentorship program within Toastmasters. Yes? All right. The way that it's designed is for members to mentor members, to help people work through speeches, to become better leaders, to become better, more proficient communicators. But the one thing that it doesn't necessarily do is prepare you to mentor someone into a club officer role. So if you have a regular mentor, how many of you have a secondary mentor or a second mentor for your club officer role that's mentoring you as you begin this journey on being a club officer? Has anybody reached out to someone? I know Geeta has, I have, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Is it Sakana? I'm sorry, Belinda, go ahead.
I was just going to say our club is so small that we really mentor each other along the way. And that's, so I say we don't have a mentor. I don't have a mentor, but I do. It's just not formal, and it is great. It's very helpful.
Sakano, your age, is it Sakano? Miss Bunch. I know I'm butchering your first name. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
How do you pronounce your first name?
Sakina.
Sakina. I was so wrong. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Sakina, you raised your hand that you have a mentor for a club officer also. Tell us about that.
Yes. So I have the mentor of the treasurer who was the treasurer last time. And we were able to go to the bank together. We were able to actually have a phone conversation just to get me to understand better what I'm supposed to be doing in my role. And she's even done so much as to kind of shadow me to make sure that I'm doing it right so that I don't mess it up, so that when we really do fully roll it out, that I know what I'm doing.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So you can find mentors from folks that have done your roles in the past, right? Where are some other places that you can find mentors for your club officer role? Where else might you look for those mentors? Who can connect you with them?
Scott,
Tyson, where?
your area director can be a big help. Area director and division director can both be a big assistance with that. They might be able to kind of mentor you directly or connect you with someone else.
Absolutely. Thank you. Without a doubt. Area directors, division directors, your trio can help you out as well. There's another huge place where you can find other folks that are going through the club officer role that might be able to help you out. Where else could you find somebody going through the same role you're going through that might walk through the path together?
Other clubs.
Other clubs, yes.
Yeah.
How many of us on the call are from the same club? None of us, but yet we are all here. We all have now met each other, right? So there is an opportunity for you to be able to reach out to folks who have left their role in the previous year, that are an immediate past whatever, an immediate past VPE, an immediate past president, whatever it is, or going through the process right now, and you can work together. I encourage you, reach out and make some friends in other clubs for those individuals that are going through the same thing you're going through, and they can help you along the way. Deb, you were going to say something with that. Deb Cedars, you were going to say something there, weren't you? I saw you raising your hand.
I'm sorry. I was, yeah, I think I was going to say exactly what Tyson said, so
Okay.
we're good.
All right, very good.
Great minds.
Thank you.
So reach out. I strongly encourage you. We want to have mentors to help us become better speakers, but this is a whole different part of Toastmasters. It's the leadership portion. Reach out to somebody and allow them to walk with you and to help you through all of these things you're going to go through, because stuff's going to come up, like, I don't know, a global pandemic where we have to end up all going online and meeting on Zoom and sitting in our cars at tennis practice in order to have meetings. And I did a roundtable before a softball game one day. Like, who thought this was going to be a thing? So reach out and find some of those folks that have those experiences to help you not have to reinvent the wheel, but just make a better wheel. Sound like a plan? You think you can reach out and make some friends with that? Yes? Thumbs up if you're going to reach out and meet somebody. Yeah?
And so, Scott, now,
Yep.
now the question might come up, where do you get to know these members and officers from other clubs?
Well,
These events like this, the officer training events, these are perfect because everyone else is an officer either incoming for the first time or maybe they've been serving for years. And so definitely make connections with other people. Remember people's names. You can even private message each other if you want to, or just put a message in the public chat if you want to get people's contact information. Say, hey, I want to talk to you. Now, of course, on here, we don't really know what officer role each person is serving in. That's a little bit nicer when you have the in-person events. You can have conversations with people there and you get to know people there and find out what they're doing, their experience and all of that, and maintain that contact. But now that we are meeting online, it's easier than ever to visit other clubs.
yes.
So you can visit other clubs in your area, division, or even across the world if you want to, but throughout the whole district. You can hop in another meeting, get to know some members, officers from the other meetings, build those connections. And that way you actually get to see how they run their meetings that might be slightly different than yours. You can pick up some good ideas. You can see perhaps maybe their VPE is more experienced than you. If you're stepping into that role for the first time, you might want to ask them, hey, maybe sometime can we talk outside the meeting? I'd like to get a little bit of feedback. Maybe you can help give me some pointers and stuff like that. So that's a great way to make those connections and build those relationships too.
Very well said, Tyson. But I have to ask you a question. Is there a program that's coming out for clubs that might help them be able to reach out? Something called, I don't know, a club ambassador program. Have you heard of that before?
I have, yeah. This is actually really exciting. This is something I was wanting to do already. Like last year, this is my second year as division director. My first year, last year, I was wanting to do something kind of like this to encourage members from clubs to visit other clubs and get to know them. Now, the district is rolling out this ambassador program to encourage members to visit other clubs. So it's a really great program. We're going to find out more details as this rolls out, but this is going to be a great incentive for everyone to get out. They'll actually be rewarded for visiting other clubs, and they'll get to see the larger picture of Toastmasters beyond their club and make those valuable connections. So this is really exciting too, that this is coming out. It's going to be kind of like a game. We can see who gets the most points.
Yep. That is very true. So one of the things I brought from District 84 is we had a club ambassador program to encourage members to go visit other clubs and bring something back from those other clubs back to their clubs. The reason we did this is we know that a lot of us are very comfortable in the clubs that we go to on a regular basis, but we don't necessarily step out and go to other clubs. So just by show of hands, how many of you have visited more than 3 other clubs of which you're not members during this whole quarantine period? How many of you have reached out to more than 3 clubs? A few. How many more than 5? Very nice. Jerry, how many have you gone to? You're on mute, buddy.
You put me there. Nicely done, though. I'd say partly, I have to admit, because I'm serving as an area director, but I'd say at least 6 aside of that. I just enjoy getting out and meeting other clubs, and usually I have a connection there, somebody I'm aware of or someone has recommended it, but I hardly recommend anyone doing that. Just go online, Toastmasters International, find a club, put in the search criteria for a day and a time that fits for you, and make a contact. It's what you'll be well rewarded.
Yes. If you stay within your own club, how much do you grow? How much do you learn if all that you're seeing is the way things have always been done? Is it ripe for new ideas, or are you just going to end up repeating the same things that have always happened? What do you think? Think it's going to be something new or something the same if you go to your same club on a regular basis? Stagnation. Probably going to learn the same stuff and get really good at the same stuff. But sometimes we learn things that we didn't even know were a thing before we end up going and visiting another club. Before I came to Indiana, I had never even heard of a table topics evaluator. I did not know that was even a thing. How many of you have table topics evaluators in your clubs? A couple. Jason's like, I think there's one. I'm not really sure what they do, but you know.
Sometimes we do have when we have enough members show up.
Yep. So it's a role that happens here. It's never even been brought up in Florida. Nobody has table topics evaluators, but I took it back to my clubs in Florida. They're now doing table topics evaluations. What about quiz masters? Anybody have quiz masters where you have somebody that pays attention during the course of the meeting, and then they ask questions to the rest of the club at the end of the meeting to see who is paying attention and award prizes for that? Jerry, you have one.
No, we don't. I think that's a great idea.
Oh, okay. I saw a lot of quiz masters when I was in South Florida, and they're here and then it's in Indiana as well. There's a bunch that are in the clubs in Northeast Indiana here. So there's different ideas for how to use your time in Toastmasters to be able to do stuff. So reach out, go visit some other clubs, go make some friends in other places. Deb, now you've been an officer a couple of times. Deb Cedars, I believe you said that you're repeating club officer role a couple of times, correct?
That's right.
So
yeah.
What are you getting out of it this time that you didn't get out of it last time? What's your goal this time?
My goal, I guess, is just always do a better job to take advantage of the technology so that I can do the minutes more efficiently. I've been in the club a long time, so I sort of know the ropes. And at the same time that I want to encourage the new members, I want to make sure that we don't miss something that we need to do. You know, it's like being a cheerleader, you know, with the TM pom-poms. Not blatantly, obnoxiously a cheerleader, but just to be encouraging and to be a mentor.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you very much. So for everybody else, how many of you have a goal that you've set for yourself? What do you want to learn through this year? Because you're about to dedicate a year of your life to a Toastmasters officer role. How many of you have come up with something that you want to learn this year so that you are better when you leave this role than what you were when you started? Anybody have any goals you've set for yourself? Anything that you want to try to learn this year? Glenda's like, I just want to get through the year. Deb.
I always want to learn more about communications. That I was a journalism major in college that didn't deal well with deadlines. They're really hard, but I love learning new things. And, that's my goal, is that even though right now we don't have a VP of PR, I'm doing some of those responsibilities and trying to make it look like we're a fun club. Trying to be creative on the Facebook page is my challenge, and another challenge is that our club webpage, I believe, is still under the name of one of our former members, and that will be my next goal, is to crack open that webpage so we can put photos on it and just like bring it to 2020.
Nice.
We haven't updated it for a while, and it's embarrassing. So
I'm sure it's fine. Thank you. Absolutely. That is a great goal to have, to be able to learn and go forward. So you really can't get fired you can't break Toastmasters. Like, you can't break your club. That's not a thing. You can try, but you can't break your club. It's going to still meet. It's going to still go on. This is a perfect opportunity for you to try something new, something out of the box, and fall flat on your face and fail miserably at Toastmasters. Because what happens is, when you fail here and you fail forward, it allows you to take what you've learned at Toastmasters and go out into the world and apply those things you've learned within Toastmasters out in the world. Because none of us join Toastmasters to be a better Toastmaster. We all join to do something better out there. So let this be the year that you set a goal to do the thing that you've always been afraid to try. And if you do the thing that you are afraid to try and you learn how to do it in private here, then when you go out into the world, your boss is going to be happier with you. You're going to be happy with yourself, your spouse, your friends, whoever you're interacting with. You're going to get a better opportunity to apply those new skills in the real world without having to learn them in public. So give yourself an opportunity to fail in private so you can flourish in public. Allow yourself that chance. So I encourage you to please set that goal. Come up with the thing that you want to do better this year than what you did last year. And Belinda, I love your club to death. You know that. I come up there whenever I possibly can. I encourage you to please, even though you said, I'm just trying to get through the year, she was so upset that I called on her. I was going to call on her. She just left the call. So they have a remarkably welcoming club. But like she said, I just want to get through the year. Don't just mark the time, mark the successes. Set the goals to go forward. Thumbs up if you're good with being able to set a goal that you're going to try to do something better this year than you did last year. Yes? Fantastic. Let this be that place that you fail in private. So everybody came to Toastmasters for a different reason. And everybody's trying to get something different out of that. I'm curious, this is a question for all of you. How do you find out from your members what they need from Toastmasters? Because we all want something different. How do you find out what they're trying to get out of Toastmasters? How do you build that communication? Someone besides Tyson. I know he's itching just to jump in again. Someone we haven't heard from yet. Jen Wigington, how do you go about and build those relationships and find out what your members need?
The most effective way is just to ask with the personal conversation, finding out what their goals are, making a phone call, sending a text, sending an email. We've done surveys before, but I think just personal conversations and making that ask one-on-one is the most effective way.
Absolutely. How many of you go back to the club that you're in because you like the members that are in that club? Any of you go back to the club you're in because you don't like the members that are in your club? We go back because they're our friends, right? So, and friends invest in people. So you're absolutely right. Start the conversation to find out what they want from Toastmasters and then start to build the club around that. Is there one right way to do Toastmasters? No. Everyone can do Toastmasters. Every club can be a little bit different, and that's perfectly fine. That's why there are so many clubs. Allow yourself the flexibility to be able to deliver Toastmasters in different ways for different people, so everyone gets what they need from our organization, from the Toastmasters experience. But ask first. It's a great way to do it. Start the conversation and ask first. So one of the other things that I think is really important for you as club officers, you're going to end up navigating some things this year that you probably weren't expecting to have to navigate. Things like Zoom accounts or Microsoft Team accounts, or trying to meet on Facebook rooms, whatever that is. Finding different ways to bring people together. How many of you have reached out and tried some of those different ways to be able to connect with people, whether it's through meetings or something else? Who has a success of being able to reach out and do something a little bit different online this year? Geeta, what did you do?
So the interesting thing is, like, initially we were coordinating on WhatsApp and different apps, like, to communicate and prepare the agenda, but we could try the Slack recently. So like recently we had an orientation for new graduate students, and we were getting like a lot of requests from new students to join. So it was like more than 50 people. So I mean, in order to handle all of those people and, you know, to be able to give them kind of information they require, because some people just join because they want to just explore what Toastmaster is. They may not join, and some people might be curious in joining, so they have different queries. So in order to manage and save time, we actually installed Slack. Is a very good, the social, the app kind of thing, like where you can make different channels and you can manage everything on one spot. So it's really useful if you guys want to try it.
Very nice. Do you use it just for Toastmasters? Do you use it for other stuff too?
I use for other stuff too.
Absolutely.
That's how I got the idea of getting Toastmasters.
Very nice. Thank you. Jerry, what about you?
Unmute. A couple of things. First, the things we've been able to do with Zoom that I really appreciate, and that is we have brought back into the club some members who have moved out of state in some cases, and in one case out of country. And it's really been great having them involved again. So that has been a real plus. On the how do you know what members want or need, that Moments of Truth questionnaire system that Toastmasters has was very effective in a club setting. And I'm not sure how well it would work in a virtual setting, but it'd be nice to know if Toastmasters International has considered finding a way to adapt it to a virtual meeting or a virtual club.
That's a great question. And if you look on the district calendar, you will find that there is a training coming up. I believe it's next month for kind of the big three, for moments of truth, for all those things that we do to reach into clubs to try to find what's going on. And we're going to be rolling that out to area directors, division directors first, and then having them help roll it out to all of the individual clubs. So that is coming. We are doing a lot of training with that throughout the course of the year, without a doubt. When you were meeting in person, did anybody have social hours that y'all got together outside of Toastmasters and did stuff?
Interestingly, Scott, my club was in discussions about doing some social events right before everything shut down. So we have not actually done it yet, but that could be a powerful way to really build those relationships. I've seen new members join and then disappear. Part of it's because they don't actually develop relationships and get to know people and make those connections. And by actually building those relationships, having social events, people get to know each other as people outside of the meetings. They develop a little bit more of a friendship, and that keeps people around, helps them to get a better experience from Toastmasters.
Absolutely. Thank you. Without a doubt. Anybody else have social stuff that you do with your members when you were meeting or now that we're online?
I would like to share something. So
Sure.
like previously also you were mentioning about what things you do with club members and what is the thing which makes you come back to your club members and something related to what Tyson said. So it's basically seriously the relationship you are making with your members. I know in our club, almost everyone, I have been friend with everyone, and there are few people, especially the club officers and all, when you see those quality in people, like the kind of quality we refer in Toastmasters, like the integrity, honesty, accountability, and all of those things, and you actually find a friend there, and it's like you are collaborating together and you're growing together. So it no more feels like a work. As a club officer, sometimes we get frustrated. Okay, I have served club officer like 2-3 years now, why do I keep on doing this again? A new club member should do it. But the one reason why we keep on doing it, because it's the feeling in the club members you see. It's the feeling for them to grow and for you to see them grow. So that kind of connection when you find in your club members, you feel so positive and motivated by the club members and club officers. You just feel like putting out there yourself, putting yourself in service of others. That's a really great feeling. And I am seriously mention these names. So we have actually 4 club members here right now joining this call, and 4 of them are really good friends of mine. Liz Chen is our club VP membership, and she has been a great friend of mine. She was the one who were one of the founder member. Then Divya is our VP PR, and Rishi is the newly joined new member. But the friendship with these guys is something which makes me, feel so motivated about the club. And, so I think that kind of culture and connection when we find with our club members, that's really positive. And I think it starts with ourselves, what honesty we are putting in our club. What do we want from the club members?
That is fantastic. Yes. The friendship, you cannot underestimate the friendship part. Gita, that is so well said. Thank you. We don't have to just get together as Toastmasters though, do we? We can get together just as friends also. So I kept membership with my clubs in Florida that I've been a member of for 8 years. And we have Friday night happy hours. We get together on House Party, which is just another social app. And we have 4 o'clock happy hours, house parties. Everyone brings something to drink, and we get together and just talk about something that's not Toastmasters for an hour or so, hour and a half or so. Have a couple of beverages, maybe a glass of wine or a beer or whatever we do. And it's something to do outside of Toastmasters just to be friends with people. Because how easy is it right now to just sit on your couch and not talk to the rest of the world? Nobody's going to walk into your house and be like, hey, I'm here to be a friend with you. That's not a thing. And if it is, it's creepy. I wouldn't be friends with them. That is really creepy. But you can do stuff like happy hours. You can do things like game nights. You can play cards online. You can do all those things. There are ways to be able to get together. The friendship, the relationships are so incredibly important. And when you start to get together like that, it's easy then to pull people together for something like a club officer meeting. So how many of you have club officer meetings on a regular basis? If you don't have club officer meetings on a regular basis, I strongly encourage you to start pulling folks together to, Dawn says, yes, we do. I strongly encourage you to start pulling folks together to help discuss the future of your club, the direction you're trying to go. And if you do it in a way that you become friends with the other members in your club and your other officers, it doesn't feel like it's another Toastmaster thing to do. It's just another opportunity to go hang out with your friends and just talk about the things that you enjoy together. And that makes it so much easier and such a more rewarding experience. So that is a lot of stuff that I wanted to talk about tonight, but I'm sure that y'all have questions, that I'm sure that y'all have things that are on your minds that you would want to know about Toastmasters and being club officer. So what are those things that we can answer for you, those of us that have been around for a little bit, about whatever it is that you're experiencing, whether it's membership or recruitment or anything out there? How can we help you be a better club officer? What questions do you have? Well, we are all Toastmasters. Many of you are first-time officers. I am sure that there's something out there that you have a question about.
I actually have a suggestion.
Fantastic, Mandy.
I would recommend that you actually have an agenda before you meet. Know what you're going to talk about before you get your officers together. I mean, the actual meeting can spread out from there, but at least come up with 3 or 4 top points that you want to make sure that you cover in that meeting, and then go from there.
I have a loose script. I knew kind of where we were going tonight, but it's a conversation without a doubt, Mandy. It should run the same way you would run a corporate meeting. Should run the same way that you would run a regular meeting. You don't show up for your regular meetings and not have speakers, right? Hopefully you don't show up for meetings and not have speakers. That's not the ideal way. There's a couple folks that I just saw look down on screen. That's very funny. You're absolutely right. Have an agenda, have something together, but then give an opportunity to grow and work out from wherever that is. Absolutely. Very good point, Mandy. What else? What other suggestions do you have? What other questions do you have? How many of you feel like you're completely prepared to be a club officer for this year? No, yeah, the best we got was this. So if the best we get is this, what are the things you're like, I don't know? So what are those I don't know things? We want to be able to answer those I don't know things.
I can say that my club, we're a corporate club, so we all know each other really well because we've all worked together on so many projects. We have a really good team whenever we do rotate club officers. I guess for me, in a way, it's I kind of like to step back and let the club do what it's supposed to do. And I want to make sure, though, that I'm not underperforming at the same time. So I've got a fine line that I'm trying to walk, and I'm hoping I'll get there as far as that goes.
Very cool. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you, Mandy.
I think one of the challenges sometimes, Scott and Toastmaster friends, is, how do we stay motivated? And how do we motivate others when sometimes it's pretty darn hard? I don't always carry pom-poms with me. So that's a challenge sometimes. I try as best as I can to be upbeat and positive, but boy, who's going to back me up?
Oh, Gita said something incredibly important about that a couple minutes ago. Gita, you're talking about your friends, right? How many of us have friends that walk beside us in those times when we might need somebody to help pick us up?
Honestly, I think it is the friendships that I have in Toastmasters groups that keeps me motivated right now, because I'm in that where I just got my DTM. And I'm like trying to, oh, I need to start pathways. But yeah, I gotta find the motivation. So I get it, Deborah. I'm right there with you.
Yep.
I can totally sync with Jen. It's the friendship which makes you.
Yep. Deborah, make sure you're not walking alone. Make sure that that somebody is walking with you. Find someone to walk with you within Toastmasters. If someone's on their journey with you, they're always going to be there for you to lean on and for them to lean on you. That makes it so much more, such a much more effective relationship and process.
One
So
more
much
thing
more
I would like
rewarding
to
that way.
mention here. So initially, of course, we understand sometimes we may not be that privileged to find friends nearby us. Then what do we do in those kind of situations? So there was a time for me also, like when I was starting my journey in Toastmasters, and of course I did not know a lot of people, but there was like task, and the most important thing was like I didn't even know how to do this perfectly. So when you don't know, like you're looking up to other people, sometimes you don't get proper guidance also. So but it's just like we always try to go back to the basics. Why are we here? What are we getting for ourselves? What are we getting for others? Also, like when you are not doing it for yourself, you see, okay, this is a kind of work I'm doing for others. We have to see like there is something which I am getting out of it, because when you do something for others, you are empowering other people. That is also something you are getting. I don't know if you guys are seeing the Toastmaster virtual conference or not, but today was a semi-final round, and there was a guy named Mark. He was talking about the power of giving back. So it's not what you are getting. Sometimes we all love to get something out of people, but like when we give back, that's a gift or blessing. Like it's a reward we get. So without any self motive, if we just give back, it's a great feeling to have, like the feeling of gratitude and the give back thing.
Thank you, Geeta. Yes, absolutely. Jerry?
I agree. I want to support her comments 110%. When I get down, and I do, it's one of the best things I find works for me is when I'm reaching out and helping other people. And a lot of those people are Toastmasters. And I will say just a general thing for officers. Some of your most, in my experience, vulnerable people are the newest members, because they have joined because they do have some insecurities and they're uncertain about things. And then they join a club where, at least from their perspective, everybody else is some sort of an expert. And they can be extremely self-conscious about, and I can't read your name because it's blocked. Last name is Nain, but your comment about being uncertain, wanting to be a perfectionist. Sometimes I find that just helping some of these newer members realize they don't have to be perfect. We don't expect you to be perfect. Just be there and you'll be supported. But 110%, yes, reach out and help others. That will be the encouragement and support for yourself. And one way to do it is to pay close attention to the newer members in particular.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Yes, Geeta, I think you definitely touched a nerve about walking without a doubt. Thank you so much. Anybody have any other questions tonight? Is there anything else we can answer for you tonight? We have about 5 minutes left. So there's one other question that I want to ask everybody. It's just for kind of a round robin for a couple minute discussion here. How many of you have more than enough members in your club that you can't fit anymore on a Zoom call? Huh, shocking. I've never heard anybody say that they have more than enough members. It's hard to find members virtually, right? Because again, people don't show up into your living room. And if they do, again, that's really creepy. But but you're trying to find members online. What are some of the practices that you all are using to find members online to help keep your clubs vibrant and healthy and growing? What are you all doing?
I'd like to answer that,
Sure.
Scott. I am a part of sales groups on Facebook, and I love to listen to people speak. I love to listen to, that permanent pause sometimes, it feels like. But when I hear those things, I automatically think of Toastmasters, and I automatically think about how I can ask them or invite them into the club. And so I've been doing that for the past couple of weeks, and it's been working. So for each meeting that we've had at least 2 to 3 new people that have participated in our club meeting. And we even have a couple that are signing on. So I think that that's actually been working for us. I love the Zoom concept. I really do, because there are so many more people who may not necessarily be able to get to the physical club, but they can join ours. And then when we get back to the physical, then maybe they can find one that's closer to them.
Absolutely. Fantastic. How many of you use LinkedIn for kind of the same thing? Anybody else?
Going to.
Good.
I'm going
Okay.
to.
Going to, without
Yeah.
a doubt.
Yeah, I need to update my own profile so that I can really sell Toastmasters. And that's on my list for this week. So check it Friday.
Nice. And Sakina, what sales groups are you in?
So I'm on a few sales groups on Facebook. One is called the Salesperson's Guide. And the beautiful thing about this group is it is all walks of life. We are women within this sales group, and we are not just salespeople, but most of us are entrepreneurs. So, when you're an entrepreneur, you can also offer it to the people that work for you as well. So it's kind of just like, a wonderful snowball.
Fantastic. I think there's a lot of value within that opportunity. We have the chance to be able to go and join groups, whether they're on LinkedIn, whether they're on Twitter, whether they're on Facebook, whatever platform you enjoy. Find the people who enjoy the same stuff and get together and learn some things together. The more you can do that, the better. Well, I would like to thank everybody here tonight for spending an hour with us to learn a little bit about what it's going to be like to be a club officer, and maybe get some feedback and maybe some ideas on how to make this better. Did you think it was useful? Do you think tonight helped you out a little bit? Is this a format that we want to have going forward as well? Think you want to keep this one too? Yeah? All right. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight, for spending time with us tonight. I'm going to hit stop recording now, because sometimes I forget to do that.